Mongoose Jake back here in my still currently cramped garage workshop, filming while we still are dealing with winter weather outside. But I wanted to come and revisit this XR200. Now, it's had a video before where I was starting a build on it. And at that time, I was literally just going to try to throw it together and reuse as much of the current parts that were on the bike. I wasn't going to tear it down and do a full true rebuild. I was just going to do a build to get it basically rideable and ready to go so that I could use it as a wet weather, kind of muck bike, if you wanted to call it that. I got it very cheap off of a coworker who knew I liked Mongoose mountain bikes, and he sold it to me for very, very little. And it needed a lot of work. Like this brake, as you can see there, it doesn't even exist. No brake pad was on, no cable going to it. It's like a lot of things were missing. I had thrown a Sun Tour fork on and some Originate parts and even a new seat and seat posts. And I was going to just go with that. There were parts I had in my bin, and well, I've changed my mind. Changed my mind completely, so it's time to revisit the build and see what I wanted to do, and I wanted to share it. Because, well, like I said, I want to come back to making routine videos, and I want to take you guys along for the ride. All of you guys and gals that might be watching. So, with this XR200, one thing I am not going to do is I am not going to strip the frame down, as in the appearance of it. I am going to strip the frame completely devoid of all components. I am actually going to service all of the bushings. I had skipped that step because I was just trying to get it rideable right then. I just lubricated them and threw them back together. But I'm actually going to strip them out of the frame and inspect them. These frames, of course, this was about a $200 or $250 bike back when it was new. So it's a cheap bike. Means it's going to have all plastic bushings. I may do what I have done with my other builds like the black combs, where I took those and had a local machine shop make brass bushings. That sounds like a lot, but it's actually not that horribly expensive to get done. And those bushings, they run much smoother because brass, it has a low friction coefficient, and they're more durable too. They don't fall apart. So that'd be a good start. And this would be a good candidate because there's really only a bushing here, a bushing here, and then one at the main pivot. There is no pivot back here, no chainstay pivot, no seat stay. This is all chromoly or steel, and it flexes. Much like, say, I'm not going to put this in the same category, but like Yeti and others have, and Gary Fisher did some years ago, designed flex into the stays. And the linkage up here just kind of guides the swing of the shock. Well, that means I only have to get a bushing made for down here. It'll be a split bushing to go together. And then little bushing here, little bushing here. That's it. And with what they charged me in the past, I might be looking at $30 or $40. And those brass bushings are permanent. So I will tear it all the way down to that. I'm not going to repaint the front section. I haven't decided on the rear. There are some signs of a little bit of surface rust here, and down in by the main pivot, so I might sandblast that and then just repaint it a solid black. I actually like the paint job. Well, it's decals. I like the red, white, and then black and polished aluminum, so I'm probably going to base my build color scheme wise off of that. I already have a red crankset to mount on here in replacement of this stock Pro Wheel one. And I'm probably going to go with a SRAM X5, or use this as a test bed for some random, like a AliExpress. I was looking at a 1x10 or 1x11 setup they had for like $50. So I might do that. But I'm actually going to switch out the fork, and then I'm going to try a very inexpensive coil shock here. I'm not going for light on this build. I already have a rear wheel to use. I'll be mounting up this Shimano XT hub, and this is actually a Sun Mammoth rim. So this is, obviously I'm not going to go light. It's going to be kind of just a durable backup trail bike. And I will be reusing, the front wheel that came with it is actually solid. It's a decently conditioned hub with a dual wall rim. And since this is going to be a weird mullet in the brake style, you know, mullet normally means bigger wheel in the front, smaller in the back, but I'm actually going to be doing a disc in the front and a rim in the back. So I will be using this. I'm going to reuse this. The wheel that was on it, I don't know if this is the original stock XR200 wheel, but if it is, kudos to Mongoose for doing that, because this is a dual wall and with a solid, it looks like it's a Formula hub. And Formula is actually pretty decent, so I would take it. It may just be a copy of a Formula hub, but it's got the same machining and profile as an actual set of Formula hubs that I have over on a shelf. And it has a brand new Kenda Claw rear tire on the front wheel. I don't know what the owner was thinking. It's like they matched up the rear, which is a really worn down Kenda Claw. They went and bought another one to match it, threw it on the front. It's a rear tire only, just so you can see the profile. But this one's actually looks like brand new. It even still has some of the nubs on the side knobs here, so I will reuse that. And then I'll probably put like a Navegal in the front, because you always want a better steering tire. But just a quick video to go over some thoughts and ideas of stripping this down, and then I am going to get some bushings machined to replace the plastic bushings, and I'll probably sandblast and redo the whole rear section of the suspension, and I'm either gonna build it up as like a test bed for some random inexpensive parts, or I'll just go with my very typical SRAM drivetrain. But I think maybe I've got one buckless bike, I might use this as a test bed for other very cheap parts. Well, it remains to be seen. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Would you like to see this as a way for me to take a bike that's not one of my main 3 or 4? Because I don't want to test on my Valiant. I don't want to test on my Kanan or even that SX 6.7, because I'm building that up to be a quite nice trail bike. But this could be a test bed for a whole bunch of inexpensive parts to try out on the channel as I go through this year. So I'm kind of leaning that way a little bit. Test bed for some cheap parts, or just as a way to show how to take an inexpensive bike and make it good. I can go one or the other way. One way or the other, and maybe it's a middle ground of kind of both. I do have another frame if I don't do this as a test bed. I do actually have another Kanan frame. I'm building up 2 Kanans, and I could use the other Kanan as a test bed. Well, let me know what you think. I've got at least 2 or 3 different ways to go with this. But we're revisiting it, because this is going to get done here over the next few months, as time and money permits. But until next time, it's Mongoose Jake saying thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.